Okay, let's get stuck into the first game of the doubleheader, and we kick off with you ladies as well too. It's the Eels hosting the Cowboys at Netstrata Jubilee. Injuries have been cruelling your side, along with suspensions as well, but there's been some promise in last week's efforts. You found a second wind as well too against the Raiders. Can you find that again for the full 70? Because it was sort of like pockets that we saw something, and it really came home at the end of the game as well.
Yeah, it definitely was pockets here and there, but when we found our rhythm, we definitely gained that momentum. We just need to keep going with it, and this week is definitely feeling like it's our week.
I think we took one step forward, and with that response at halftime, or just after halftime, scoring a try, which is the change in momentum that we've needed from the start, and I think that that gave us a lot of oomph, and let's just carry it on from there this next game.
Well, to put a bit of pep in your step going into it, so let's talk about the team list for this week, because again, injuries are still in play. Shani, you're off still at the moment, which we can't wait to see you back out in the field, fingers crossed, but you have a couple of debutantes, which you were mentioning at the start of the field as well.
Yeah, big boss. Boss is coming in, just freshly signed, and she's named, and she's
amazing.
Keen, and yeah, it was good to watch her at training. It was just like, yep, you're ready, like get her on. Then Jade's back from injury, from her hand from the first round, where she got thrown in the deep end playing halves as Rach was ruled out in the captain's run. So yeah, she's definitely going to feel more comfortable in lock and showcase to the NRLW what she can do there.
Beautiful. All right, well, let's look over to the Cowboys. Coach Ben Jeffries was less than impressed with the form of the entire team last week. Then a double blow. They lost Autumn Rain, Stevens-Daly and Shania Power as well too for the season with a foot injury. With these reshuffles in place that you can see at the moment, how do you see this game playing out?
Well,
you can give me the best insight.
Playing out, we're definitely going to take that to our advantage. It's going to be hard with their change-up. I know that China's going into the forwards, we don't actually know where she's going, but wherever she does, she's dangerous. So we can't take that for granted. We need to keep an eye on for her, but yeah, we're confident, so I think that says that.
Yeah. Confidence is good, but they've still got some really threatening players there. It is a big loss losing Shania, but you can see moving into their second row positions, they've got people who can do just as good a job, and I'm really looking forward to seeing the centres and both teams go up against each other. I think
that's where the key matchup's going to be. All right, well, game 2 is the doubleheader in Cogger, and it sees that the Dragons and Titans go into battle, and the Dragons showed that they could find another gear last week in the dying moments of the game. Bobby Law is actually the surprise starter in this lineup for me, having suffered a hamstring injury. Do you think they have what it takes to be like in a top 4 side in this? Because again, she did a hammy pretty badly, and Sowie said after the game probably weren't going to play her. Now we're seeing her in that starting lineup. It could change when it comes to game day, but
yeah, it's most likely probably going to change. I feel like hamstrings. It's sort of like day by day, whether or not. But there's still a lot more of the week. So hopefully she's playing. But I don't know. It might be smart just to rest her for now.
Or give Sowie a call and let her know that Zali said.
Well, they're building really well. And I can see that they've named Shanae Lendl at the wing, but she's actually a very good centre herself. So is that a backup plan? Who knows?
Yeah.
I think she will play centre in that game. That's a talk around town at the moment as well too. The thing that I loved about Sowie is he's kind of been quite downtrodden in a couple of the interviews so far, but he loved the effort that sort of went into that game. It was the 1%ers, for the lack of a cliche, that they were actually starting to do, and we started to see it gel, because they've got a very young side, the Dragons.
Once again,
and a lot of them have not played together over a long period of time as well. So, like we said in the very, very start of this series, we'll see them really starting to gel and hit their stride in game 5 or 6, and that's what we're seeing with the teams such as the Dragons. And then I would say the Sharks are going to come back. And then we've seen the Tigers come out flying, and then kind of,
so this is the best part. It's the sliding doors of this competition at the moment as we're in round 6. Let's look to the other side. The Titans, they got a bit of a wake-up call last week against the Roosters, and they know they need to lift going in if they want this roll on to the finals. They do this without Emily Bass in the side as well too, so only a couple of minor changes to it, but again, another side that they were a little bit disappointed with discipline when it came to the game.
Yeah, Chapo's back in. It's good to see that. I'm really liking Destiny. Yeah, she's a really good rookie, and it's so exciting to see rookies that just are performing like that, and it just goes to like prove the pathways that are coming through and the girls that are coming through. So yeah, she's got a long season, long career ahead of her, so I'm just keen to watch her keep going.
Yeah, I agree with you. The pathways are clearly very healthy because we have got players who are able to just transition onto the field in the NRLW standard and take the plate. So that's incredible to see. I really would love to see how Jamie Chapman goes against the Dragons. Like, I know that she was at the Broncos, but prior to that she was at the Dragons, so they'll have a good idea of how she plays, and Niall Williams will be, I feel like, out to prove something because last week's game kind of exposed the edge a little bit. So yeah,
all right, so lucky insight. All right. Game 3 finds us as Allianz Stadium for the Roosters and West Tigers, with the Tricolours finding their feet in the competition, and they've returned to that form that we had them pen them as favourites at the start of the year. It's what we kind of expected them to be like this whole year. They've come out firing, and I loved the comment John Strange said. He spoke to a couple of the girls on the field, and the comment was, "We're having so much fun." And they're playing like they're having fun, which is dangerous footy, isn't it? Oh
yeah, they're playing flamboyantly. Like they're letting the ball move with ease, and they've got so much trust there that the other person is going to run their line, and the person's going to be there to receive it, and they're really playing on the front foot. As you said, they are enjoying it, and it is showing.
And players are getting very confident and showcasing their tricks up their sleeve.
Their
Once
strengths.
again, Taryn Aiken.
I think we have a fan.
Yeah, I was going to say fangirl.
Oh, did you want to move into the halves?
Who knows, honestly.
Hey, you're still young. The world is your oyster. But what do you think's changed so much about the Roosters that we saw in the start those first few weeks compared to where they are now?
The gelling piece, like they have rolled over a lot of their debutants, and the debutants are actually, I would say, like in the second row and in the middles. So that's where you get your go forward, and then that's where you lay the platform to let everything else flow. Corbin McGregor has been an integral piece of the flow of this game,
definitely,
massively. And I've seen that, like Jamie Fressard is off. I can't remember if she had a HIA. Potentially, but they're interchanging their wingers, and every time they do, they come with a one that's just as strong and just as good a finisher. So they have depth.
Yeah,
they do.
It definitely was a HIA as well too. Thank you, the producer, in my ear at the moment as well too. Well, let's look over the West Tigers. They're seen as has done a reverse of the opposition in the Roosters. They started strong, but now they've slipped to 5th place on the ladder. They desperately need to tidy up their errors and disciplines, or Roosters will be the team that will make them play, especially when you look in that list. There's a lot of experience in that side as well.
Yeah. Well, with Tigers, they did come out, like a lot of us were doubting them in the beginning of the season, so they had a lot to prove, but I feel like they needed to hold the momentum. And with some of their girls like going out, they've got Lusana's back in.
Yeah, Lusana's back into the halves, which is a great addition because we wanted to see her have more time on the field, and we're going to get to see it this time. What has really killed them is the penalties. There's been a few flops at crucial moments, and they're really unnecessary. So actual discipline on not going so much for the mongrel that we've heard so much about, but real discipline to the rules of the game is going to help them. They know how to enforce themselves into a game. They don't need to do anything else.
Yeah, I think one of the comments that they made as well too is they practiced so well and they have all these amazing moves, and then they get a couple right, and then the excitement just gets too much, and then they go and overplay their hand, which has been a big problem with it, which is when the discipline and the errors start to feed through as well.
Just need to execute. But yeah, it's hard to do, obviously, in the time, and they're a new team. And coming together. So
Game 4 takes us to Brisbane for the Broncos and Raiders on Sunday. Brisbane looking to bounce back after their last-minute loss to the Knights. They got back Julia Robinson on the wing this week, plus they get Brianna Clark and Jasmine Fogavini from suspension right when they need them.
Yeah, well, Brie will make a huge difference in this game. She's got a lot of go forward. She's a great partner for Chelsea Lenarduzzi. I just like the way that she plays. She's solid and forward moving. So, yep, she's going to go great. Mele Hufanga.
I was just about to say.
Again, stride after stride. Confidence is getting a lot more. And then, I mean,
she's just dangerous.
Yeah.
Like, she is dangerous. She's just one of those edges that are just when you see her get the ball, you're like, okay, we've got to stop her now, otherwise she's just going to run the whole field.
Triple threat, I think. And
Don't let her get
Julia
momentum.
Robinson returning as well, which will change a lot in the game for the team. She's got that experience. She's been at Broncos forever, her entire career. So she'll just bring confidence in being on the field.
Just that steadiness that sort of comes with it as well too. Well, let's look over the Raiders. You girls played them last week. There's been a lot of talk of them taking their foot off the accelerator too early. Again, another team that you can't afford to back off and go down a gear on. How do you see this play out? Because I mean, there's some great matchups here as well too. They're a little bit sore after their game last week in terms of how they played and the performance that they put on. They're a gritty team.
They are.
How do you see them coming back from that, going up against Bronx?
There's an inclusion that I think is really important. Holly May-Dodd.
Yep.
Her work rate and her threat to an edge is like insane.
Yeah.
So having her back on the field will make a huge difference to the whole settling of the team, I think.
Yeah.
And no doubt, like you said, they'll be hurting. So Mimes will be in everyone's ear. She'll be picking up another step.
Yeah, she was angry after the game last week.
Yeah, it was good to see the frustration on their faces because we knew that we were getting close. But yeah, that's just they're not gonna let it get that close this week.
Because it's frustrating, like because your season's so short. If you went for a full 26 week or whatnot, you have time to iron these things out. You guys have to change so quickly and adapt and move forward and deal with injuries and sort of keep playing on. And this game is one of those battles where they've both got to pick up, put it behind them, move on and make those sort of positive changes.
Yeah, and I love that you point that out. It's not only about the short season, it's also about a lot of the turnaround times. For us this week.
Played on Sunday, playing on Saturday, first game.
So that's one training that we actually remove from our training schedule. So from 3 to 2 is a lot.
Yeah. It's a significant amount.
Significant.
All right, well, let's jump into our final game of the round, and it sees us heading to Newcastle for what could possibly be another sellout crowd. And it's part of the doubleheader with the NRL as well too, so it boosts more butts on the seat. Both sides won their last round. Newcastle with a nail-biting finish. They get Hannah Southwell back this week as well too, which sees a fair bit of a reshuffle in those forwards. They're going to need a strong wall of defence against the Sharks, who are very capable of putting on the points. With that reshuffle, with Hannah coming back in, how do you see that play out?
Well, it's just a lot of control on the field, right? So Hannah just takes control of the girls, and they that close last week. So they're not going to want to let Sharks get any early points on them, because once Sharks get that roll on, they'll keep going, especially with the backs. Their lineup is insane. So
it's having another voice on the field as well too with Hannah, isn't she? She's a very good talker. I know Jessie is as well too, and obviously you got Tamika at the back.
Clear. She's very clear. She knows what, and she doesn't want you there.
There's 3 points that are really crucial spots on the field as well. For our team personally, we needed someone with experience in the middles, and that was Elsie, and we only had her for a short amount of time. So we felt deeply how that affected us. I do think that it is going to be a great battle of the middles, and laying that foundation, girls having to truck it up the middle with really solid runs is going to be a necessity on both sides. And for instance, Shanice Parker has just been opening the game up. So there's threat to the edges as well. So this is going to be a really structured game. The ones that we like to see go forward first and then play on the third or the fourth and have a go. But then in the middle we've got Olivia Higgins. So she's great at really mixing up the middle with her fast feet and taking those 1 or 2 opportunities that actually open up in the game to get a break. So it's going to be tight.
All right, well, let's look over to the Sharks side. It's the same 17 that claimed their second win of the year. They now join up. It's the absolute traffic jam pile up with 4 other teams on the edge of the top 4. They're sitting in 7th at the moment. They're known for their strike power. We spoke about Jada Taylor coming back into the game last week. They kind of shut her down a little bit out of the game last week, but again, it's a different side, different opening. You've got some of your star strike power there as well. Yeah,
it's going to happen. Players are going to learn how you play, and they're going to attack you and try and shut you down and contain you. So Jada's still young. It's going to happen to her a lot of the time. She's just going to have to keep evolving, and I feel confident that she will. She's got a good team behind her, good heads. So especially in the backs, so they'll definitely help her in that sense.
There's a player here that debuted last week, Georgia Ravix.
Yep.
And
Strong, very strong.
Like I said, personally, from knowing her, she is an athlete through and through, and I think that people are probably still underestimating her strength and her skill, because you would have seen her just monster people one-on-one, and she's still been reserved. So when she gets her confidence in her footwork and approach to the tackle and actually blast in full blast, there is absolutely no chance of getting her down.
Just scary good.
So it is scary that she came out firing that much last week.
Yeah.
Now that she has that out of the way, this week is going to be the week.
Yeah.
And Jasmine Strange is going to have a really tough job.
Shani, we can't wait to see your injury heal and back out on the footy field as well too, but we love having you here in studio as well. Zali, best of luck on Saturday, hopefully notching up a first win for the Eels.
Hopefully.
All right. Thank you again so much. Real highlights, unreal action. It's all about to get very real this NRLW Premiership season experience. All the power on the field, the passion in the stands, and all these growing rivalries becoming epic contests. NRLW Women's Telstra Premiership is back for 2023. Secure your seats now at nrl.com/tickets.